starting. That's very good. Okay, let's see what we got here. Receiving the content. We're ready. And we're live. Welcome to the edition of Stunt Hangar. Tonight is the paint prep issue. I'm trying a few different things. I streamed earlier this afternoon with these settings. I've learned how to zoom the camera so that we got a better shot of things. If you want me to zoom back out, we can do that. Or if you'd like for me to zoom in closer, we can do that. Unfortunately, Napa didn't get my primer in. I guess it's coming from the warehouse, and they should have it here shortly, so I'm a little behind. I had to use just what I had left. And this is like the 5th sand out for this airplane. And, you know, it's, I'm trying to do a little cooperation with some of the other online modeling people. There is another site that's doing something similar to what I'm doing, except it's trained. So I'm going to try to get with those guys and maybe get some exposure from them, and we'll give them a little exposure. But I want to discuss paint prep tonight. And so much of model building is sanding. I can hardly explain it. I mean, it's all I seem to have done for the last 50 years is sand. Seems like I only got one person on at this time. It takes a while for the stream activity to get going. So if you have a question, type it in the box, and I'll be more than happy to answer it. If not, here we got some more people coming on board. That's good. I really think this is going to be a you know, kind of a valid concept in the modeling community. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'll spend another, I don't know, a couple of hours sanding on this. And most of the sanding, or most of the finish on these airplanes is in the sanding. And it's really not a glamorous or exciting type thing. It's just labor. And the reason why I like the DC 540 is the sheer speed of which I can go from one coat to the next. We're back to the soft block 320. Bernie Trent, if you ever watching this, I'm still waiting on my sandpaper you promised. Ah, yes. What's going on, Paul? I see you got that primer. That's good stuff. How's the picture look over there, this evening. Boy, this thing is rough. So we got some spots here, and we lost some people. That's all right. We got some spots here, and I'm going to take the 3M spot putty. And Tom Morris sent me a message stating that I should, state what tools I'm using. And once again, this is the Acro Green 05096 spot putty. I got it from Amazon. I was wrong. It's $17 a tube. I have to order some more. And you don't want to use much of it because it's pretty heavy. But in cases like this, when I'm trying to fill all these lows, it really helps out quite a bit. I want to discuss something that I discussed with my viewers this afternoon from the Netherlands. The Hangout with Sparky video, or the Hangout with Stunt Hangar video, was just a test on the camera angle, and I figured out how to zoom it. So I just started running a stream with no announcements or nothing, and I got 4 or 5 people from the Netherlands in, and I showed them my airplanes, and they weren't modelers or anything like that. They were just people who watched me for 2 hours, which was kind of flattering. But I kind of discussed some things about, I see a lot of people complaining about Model Aviation magazine and all that. I really think that this right here, this video setup, is going to be the wave of the future. The dinosaur magazine is going to be gone. And what people got to realize is that the AMA uses that magazine as a revenue generator. That's all they're doing with it. They could care less whether it's got one article in it. It's all about being a catalog to make money. Now, how much money does it take? Why do we have to raise that kind of money? I know they're not paying it out in insurance claims. So where does the money go? I don't know. But I think that Stunt Hangar is on the leading edge of a new era in the modeling situation with this online program for an hour a night. I know you don't believe it, but I think we are. And I'm glad to be on the ground floor. So what I'm doing here is, can you use aeropoxy? Aeropoxy. What is aeropoxy? What is aeropoxy? What are you talking about there, Paul? You can use anything over the top of this primer if that's aeropoxy, some type of paint. Anything works over this. Let's see, filler. I don't know. I suppose you could. I use Superfill, which is a Wix product. That's the blue aircraft filler. It's an epoxy type base filler, light, but you have to wait for it to dry. That's if you don't have constraints on how fast you have to work with it. You know, the way to fill something is with superfill because it's light and it's good stuff. Aero epoxy to fill the spots. You know, I suppose you could. You know, you could use the red lead, but you don't want to use much of it. That's for sure. This green stuff that I have here is I've painted a lot of airplanes and I've tried a lot of products. And when I find something that works, you know, I kind of just stick with it. And I saw Wendy using this, and he didn't even mention it. And I just happened to catch the part number somehow, and looked it up, and sure enough, it's good stuff. Very heavy though. I'll probably order another tube tonight because I got lots more airplanes to paint. I used to use micro balloons and epoxy. I have a jar of it. This is superfill. This is not aero epoxy, it's superfill. And yes, micro balloons and epoxy and those older mediums, you can still use them. However, there's so much better stuff to use, like the superfill. I used to use nothing but hobby epoxy. You know, it's hobby epoxy is very hard to sand. Hobby epoxy and micro balloons. What we got going on here? Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was kind of cool that we had show the tube. This is acro green spot putty. I thought it was kind of neat we had people from the Netherlands on today, though. And they were not modelers. They were just people interested in live streaming. I'm hoping that I can get this leveled out in just a few coats of a primer. This is already 3 cans on this airplane. Where'd all the primer go? It's on the floor. Today, in my test stream, I was working on my Thunderbolt. So if you look at the last stream around the bench, you'll see the bottom skin that I made before I went to bed last night. I laid it up and this morning I unraveled it, you know, unwrapped it and got it mounted. Let's see, we're going to need some more aggressive sandpaper. Email the information on the putty. Okay. So we have the superfill spots here, and I was using 320. So remember what I told you about let the sandpaper do the work for you? Well, this is 180, and it's not aggressive enough. So I'm going to go to 80 grit. And then we'll go back to 180 and then down to 320 to try to get some of these. Anyway, ask the questions. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. That's kind of what the around the bench is all about. It's a BS session. I'm not really doing any instructional type thing. I think the instructional classes are going to have to be done in video and not in stream. And for the simple fact that of the setup, because I can't get each piece set up. So I'm going to probably do those in a video and just around the bench in the live format. Got a long ways to go on everything. It's not enough time in a day to do all this stuff. But I am learning. I'm getting the stream down. But you know, not only did I have to learn to stream, I'm going to have to learn how to do some artwork to make these streams more appealing to people who don't know about Stunt Hangar and about what control line is. It was so surprising today. If you look back in the chat or look back at the other video, at those people from the Netherlands who knew nothing of control lines were standing in here and talking to me for 2 hours. They watched me sand and cut, and that's really saying something. Not what it's saying is, you know, maybe we can interest some other people in control line, and they had never done it in their life. So will they continue to do it? I don't know. All I can do is try. I have a feeling that the younger people are going to gravitate more to this type of exposure. First off, because it's computer, and second off, you know, when we grew up doing this, nobody would help you. So hopefully, with them seeing how to do this and the advent of the digital media, we can get some people interested. Email me the info. So, yeah, got dust going everywhere. Any questions? It's rather hard for me to sit up here and talk for 2 hours about something that I know how to do already, unless somebody asks me something. have it, folks. Paul Taylor is a let's see, will these planes be for folks? Yeah, but these contests that he goes to have no BOM. So what's the difference? That's why I like the BOM myself. There's only one contest a year that requires the BOM, and that's the Nats. All else is open game. There aren't, you know, that's the only contest, and there's so much whining about that. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they have the BOM, but he still can fly there. He just gives up his appearance points. But I doubt these will be flown there. Who knows? I wouldn't worry about it because they're not going to be 20 pointers. It'll be nice, but they'll be in the I don't know anything about Baton Rouge. Well, the gentleman that's flying these wouldn't take the appearance point anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm not worried about him anyway. He'll fly one of his other 3,000 airplanes. It looks like that really leveled out nice. I waited 2 days before I sanded that, so that helped. Let's see. Well, what are we going to talk about? You guys pick a subject and I'll see if I can discuss it. These are going to be nice. So anyway, I'll show my Thunderbolt again, what I was working on this afternoon here. One of the guys asked what canopy. Well, the canopy that I'm going to use is the one that I showed last night. It's a P51 canopy, but I'm going to modify the shape of the back of it and the paint line so it more resembles a P47. But they're World War II cannons. They're close enough. Nobody, I mean, we're not building watches. It just has to have the look of a P-47. It's not a scale plane, it's a stunt plane. Wayne Wiley did show Sandberg's on and off, bolt on and off rockets and bombs. I'm going to do that for sure. That was the one that I crashed in Memphis. That was my favorite plane, the Thunderbolt. I like the Continental real well. I've had a lot of Continentals throughout my life. That was the plane that got me, basically hooked on stunt back in the early 70s. So the Continental I've always had a love for. Just about all of Billy's designs are, they all stand out. But I'll tell you this, when you watch Billy fly them, and you say, well, I want to build one of those, keep in mind that Billy builds for weight. His airplanes are super light. His airplanes, the airfoils aren't designed to carry a whole lot of weight. They're not thick, so unless you're a light builder, Bill Werwage's airplanes are kind of out of the realm, because, them guys, he's building airplanes 60 size with 60-inch wingspans that are in the 40s, 48. The Albuquerque is 11. No, I have never used a power sander of any type. Now, I'm not saying that that a power sander wouldn't work. I'm just saying that I've never used it for the simple fact that I've done it this way for the last 50 years. I'm sure there are guys that have power sanders and can use them. I've been tempted to buy a spindle sander. Of course, that type is not for sanding, finish sanding, but I've been tempted to buy a spindle sander just for the ease of doing inside turns on different things. And I bet that once I bought it, I would be hooked on that. But I don't have the money right now, so I just gotta, do with what I got. And hand sanding has always worked. I bet that's going to come out nice right there. If you look back at some of the older tapes of me working on this, it had gouges, huge gouges back here. Kind of like what we got up there in the wings. The trick to DC-540, as far as weight goes, is you want to put it on like I've done here. You want to sand it all off, sand the bad spots, and then we're going to add another coat. I have one last can left tonight that I can use as a guide coat. We're going to put that on and see how it looks. That would be the 4th coat of primer on this airplane. And then when that 4th, whatever how many coats it takes to make the airplane look good, you got to sand it all back off again. You have to sand it down to its translucent state in order for the airplane not to pick up a lot of weight. I think I've given a couple of tutorials on DC-540, but it doesn't seem to sink in. So we put it on and we sand it off. We're going to put it on and sand it off, put it on and sand until it looks like a polished piece of plastic. Then it gets its last coat of DC 540, and then it gets all sanded back off and then top coated with the color. And the last step is what the make or break of the model. Did you sand it all off until it was translucent? Because if you didn't, you're carrying around paint that you don't need. So if you were here to look at this, and I might be able to zoom the camera in, I'm not sure. I think I'll try that. I'm going to walk into the control room and zoom the camera on this rudder. Then I'm going to shoot a coat of primer on it, and you'll see the difference. So we'll move it over here. I can't believe that it's taken me 3 days to figure out how to get the camera to zoom. Anyway, I'm going to focus in on the rudder and zoom it in, and you'll get a good look what it looks like now. Then I'm going to shoot a coat of primer on it, and you'll get a look what it looks like. Then we're going to sand it off, and I'll zoom it in one more time. So give me a second, and I'll zoom it in. Be right back. Well, that's the absolute best I can zoom it in. And it looks like it's coming in. And then we're going to get to see what it looks like painted. Looks like the stream speed is picking up. Some will say, well, that's good enough. Well, I say it's not. It's close. And as soon as it dries here, 5 minutes, we'll sand this spot right here. It'll get one more coat. I'll move on to the next spot. It's a little bit tedious. The problem, Arthur, with silver is it has poor adhesion properties. When you paint the silver on, it peels up. And when you paint the color over the top of silver, what I'm doing with this primer has, I believe this has MEK in it, or some type of xylene. Could be either xylene or MEK, because when you sand this primer long enough with your bare hands, your hands tingle. And so I know there's some heavy duty chemicals in it. So what that tells me is that it's given a chemical bond from one coat to the next. Silver paint, on the other hand, I don't like silver. I just don't use silver, period. So does that answer your question? And it takes, people say, how much primer does it take? It takes what it takes. You don't worry about it. Ah, I will tell you this, the minute you spray it on, you go, God, that looks terrible. Yes, I mean, Wendy's a good finisher. He has his ways. I guess he learned that that silver worked, and it does work. It's just not for me. The minute you pull the tape up, paint comes up with it. So I'll pass on that. That and the speed of DC 540. I'm not going to paint another coat here. I'm just going to talk for a minute, and we'll be able to start sanding again here in a second or two. So I really like that part of DC 540. I don't have to wait a day for paint to dry. If I was using silver, you have to wait for that silver to gas off so that it powders. And it took me a lot of years to find this product. And I'm concerned they're going to quit making it because some tree hugger environmentalists will say, well, it's bad for you. Yeah, well, probably is. Don't eat it. I've said over and over again, I remember when we didn't have to wear helmets. The cars didn't have seat belts. If you want to drive your car without a seat belt, which I believe in seat belts, hey man, that's your choice. Knock yourself out. Yeah, I don't doubt that Jim said he would start using it, but you got to just try it. I mean, at least try it. So here we are. We're back on sanding this DC 540, and this coat, I'm not gonna, because I just don't have the primer. I haven't got my cases primer in yet. We'll go on to somewhere else. But this coat, this particular spot here, the way that it looks, is ready for its final coat of primer. So it'll be one more coat of primer, and then of course the sand out with the 600 to translucent from here. So that's in good shape. But I just wanted you to get a close-up view of what it is supposed to look like. I didn't hear your comment. Right. I don't have to wait for it to dry like dope. It's if I was using dope, you'd have to wait till tomorrow to sand on it. With this, within 5 minutes, I can sand and move to the next operation. You saw that I just painted this right here with the DC 540, and we're sanding it. It's that fast. And I believe it's because of the xylene or the high concentrate of MEK or whatever chemicals are in it that it dries so fast, and it leaves a great bond. I mean, and you can paint anything over it, whether it be epoxy, dope, lacquer, enamels, urethanes. I don't know. Sherwin-Williams really hit the mark with this stuff. It's very expensive, and it's $3 a can. And you think, well, that's not very expensive. But like I said, where's all the primer go? It's on the floor because you're putting it on and sanding it off. So it takes quite a few coats of primer. You can figure about $25 on a airplane that's close to being ready to go per airplane. It could be as much as $50 depending on how far out the how many cans it takes to do the airplane, but it takes what it takes if you want good looking stuff. So you don't worry about what it costs. You just do it and say, well, that's what it costs. Said he did not like it. Oh, Jim said he didn't like it? Which I can hardly believe. I don't like dope because I don't have to wait, or because I have to wait. I like DC 540 because we can go from one project to the next so fast. I'm going to zoom the camera back out, and we'll be back in. How's that for pretty slick? Got the controls figured out on the camera, so I don't have to turn the camera. I just do it on the computer. That camera is super high def. And the nice thing about it is it's got the microphone in it. I don't have to monkey with any. Paul, what do you know about USB number 2 cables? That's what I need, and I'm using a regular USB extension, and I think that's where some of the latency is. Tomorrow I should have my new cables, the number 2s. I don't know the difference between 1 and 2 or whatever they are. What's the difference? We okay. What's the difference, Paul, in the between the USB 1 and 2? I should have the 2 cables tomorrow. Is that going to okay? Should that help our video and audio? I'm running through 50 foot of USB extension cable now. Only it's number 1. So I don't know. Oh, good. So maybe we'll get some of that straightened out tomorrow, and I can broadcast at a faster speed. I'm at 15 to 3,000 now. I think we can go 6,000. Not like we're gonna get 4K or high def or anything, but anyway, tonight is about another 15 minutes of sanding. That's about all I can take for the day. I've sanded this 2 times already. And we'll talk about my Thunderbolt. This, I sure wish you lived closer, Paul, because then we could corroborate video stuff. And I need some help. First off, I don't know what I'm doing. Second off, it really takes 2 people to do this. You know, I got to keep running in the other room to move the camera when, if somebody was at the control box, they could look at the camera and move it. Or I could put in another camera and we could get two cameras going. Because believe it or not, this camera was not very expensive. Probably one of the better deals I made. I looked at buying a GoPro to get some action shots. I could get a GoPro Silver 3 for $229, or the GoPro 4 Black for it's under $500, but it's close. But I got to thinking, I guess Shug, he uses the GoPro to shoot his videos with, and he's pretty creative. And my channel is not really a creative channel. I'm not a funny guy, and I don't talk about stupid shit. And we're not looking at cats, and so it's a boring channel. But I want to bring some life to it. I just don't have the idea on how to do it. So if you guys only knew how much work it took to do the airplanes, run the website, produce the channel, and then think up some stupid shit to make it work. It's a lot. I don't know how much longer I can do it, but I'll keep plugging along. The live stream every day is not a big deal because I'd be over here sanding and working anyway. So in order, to let you guys come into my shop, it's not that far of a stretch. However, making the movies, for every hour of video that goes up on the web, it takes me 4 hours to produce it. I have to shoot it, upload it, watch it, edit it, clip it. So that's why the live stream has come about. Now I do have another little camera. It's not an action camera, but it's believe it or not, I bought this on Woot, and it really takes good pictures, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of a GoPro. I mean, I could take a selfie and put it on a selfie stick, but who wants to see me anyway? But I don't know. I'll think of something. I think that little camera was only about $30, or I don't know. It's just junk. Chinese crap. We're getting some influx of RC guys over, which is a good thing. There are a few die-hard RC guys that are still building. And if I get involved with this YouTube Modelers Association, and they give me an endorsement, we might get some of those guys over here. I've already featured them on my channel. If you look at my channel, they're on the right. You can go there. They do something similar to this. They're not they're not showing. I hate, I looked at it and I didn't see where they were showing how to do anything. It was more of a talk radio type show, like I did with the Stunt Hangar interviews, and I might do a few of those. The Stunt Hangar interviews. Um, the Stunt Hangar interviews went over really well. And what do you mean? Why wouldn't I put that kind of work into customer? I mean, if you saw these airplanes, you'd go, oh boy. I don't know. I can't. I'm just not a person that can. When I picked these up and we discussed this project, I thought, well, I'll just throw some paint on them and go. I should have known better. I'm just not like that. They're not perfect. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to look like my airplanes, but they will be nice. I mean, there is no sense to spend that kind of money and not have a good job. I mean, I would not do that to somebody. I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine, he might be watching, Gary Hayjack, went to the Tulsa, or whatever they call that thing, in Arizona. And he called me up and he said, I got a Tom Warden airplane here. Would you like to buy it? I said, yeah, go ahead. Let's buy it. And immediately in my mind, I knew how Tom built from years back. And he said, well, it's $300. I said, go ahead and get it. I'll give you the money when you get here. So he bought it and brought it back. And the only thing I can say is that Tom built it. It looks nothing like what Tom used to do in my mind. So rose-colored glasses got me. But, that's the way it goes. And kind of live and learn. But I would not give a customer a poor job. I mean, it's not in me. I've been a professional mechanic too long. I feel like, yeah, let me do a brake job. Nah, we're going to leave the springs out of it. Or, nah, we're not going to rebuild the master cylinder. No need for that. When you're working on motorcycles and you got the head off and you got the cylinder off, if you don't replace the rings, the wrist pin and the clips and all that, you're really making a mistake. People say, well, you don't have to replace the wrist pin and clip. Well, you do. At least I did. We're getting close. It's maybe Friday we can go to paint with this thing, depending on whether I get my primer or not. And how I'm going to do this, and I'm sure the person who I'm doing this for is watching. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do one good coat of gray on the bottom, which is the gray is going to be this primer. It's going to get cleared anyway. And then we're just going to come paint the green up towards the top with an airbrush. So, and the gray will look just fine. I've done it many times. I've done it many times and it looks just fantastic. Well, thank you, Paul. I don't know about jaw dropping or whatever, but they get by. I won my share of concourses, but haven't won a Nats concourse yet. I'm just not that popular. The year I should have, my airplane wasn't on the front row, and I did nothing with that airplane. And the next year it was on the front row. I did nothing to that airplane except fly it. I didn't even fix it for the Nats. Come back, it was on the front row. So anybody's guess is as good as mine, I guess. You know, depends on who's looking. And I've been right there with Wendy, but Wendy had his followers. His airplanes are very nice. Don't get me wrong. He's a beautiful builder. But he had a loyal following, and that helped him. I watched his channel the other night, and he's building trains or, working on motorcycles, and he'll be back. I bet money on it. He'll be back to airplanes, and I'd love to see him come. He's a hell of a craftsman. You got to respect craftsmanship. At least I do. Okay, looks like we got the top pretty close. See, what I normally do is we worked on the top, and it's close. I will let the top sit, and put another piece of sandpaper. The top sit, and then come back and attack it again, and let it sit, and then come back and attack it again. I don't know whether that's the right way to do things or not. That's just how I do it. Let's see how this spot came out. These had some hellacious gouges in this. Oh man. But the nice thing about this airplane here is this is the Warbird. It doesn't have to be super slick. I probably got about 30 hours in this already. And I'll probably put in another 30 in the detail. I just wish I could get to the detail, because that'll be the fun part. The sanding part is killing me. It'll be so far out. Maybe I ought to get one of them power sanders. Let's see here. Yeah. You don't ever answer my phone calls, so I quit calling them. Okay, let's dust on. Where's the primer? It's on the floor. It's on the bench. I'm out of paint anyway. kind of want to see what this is going to look like. God, it's going to need like 4 or 5 more go arounds. Well, Tom, if you're watching, I don't know how long it's going to take to get this done. It's going to take whatever it takes. It's pretty far away, but it'll be nice when it's done. Anyway, been sanding for an hour. Sanding and talking for an hour. I'm going to show what I did this morning for an hour. We'll talk about that, and then we'll wrap this edition of Round the Bench up. So I'm going to set this aside. I have to wait until I get some more primer. I'm out. That is terrible. I find it hard to set this down. One of these nights I'll get a hair up my butt, and I got to get this in paint come Friday. But see, here we have a huge issue right here. So let's see, how am I going to attack this? Well, I was going to stop, but I found a problem that I need to straighten out while I'm looking at it. Okay, harder block. We got 180. These are the clips, and this is why I really don't like doing flap clips, because there's always like a dissimilar problem there. Now, these probably should be super filled, but I'm going to use some green spot putty, some acro green. See if we can get away with that, and if we can't, then I'll have to do super fill. So when you build these flaps with these clips in it, just as an aside, before you install it on the airplane, make sure you can't feel that clip, and there's no big, divot or whatever, and it'll save you a little time in the finish. Finish starts with the first piece of wood cut. Remember that. Okay. So we might get around that problem with no big deal, depending on how this putty's. Okay, Arthur, you have a good evening. We'll see you on the next edition. I'm going to be here till I'm done. I mean, I'd like to keep these around the benches to about an hour, hour and a half, something like that. Well, that's good. I've changed the streaming, and we're going to use this stream from now on, and these settings. Because as I've stated, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm learning. I wish I knew what I was doing. If they would, I might look at the, before I shut this off, we've been running an hour and 5 minutes. And before I shut this off, I might look and see what the ingestion settings are so that I could copy that and be able to send you guys a notice. But I'm just trying, you know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying. Anyway, let's talk about my Thunderbolt, what I did today. Okay, this thing is pretty dusty. This is the top skin. Everybody has seen that. I took it off, you know, and I made the bottom skin last night about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm working on getting it fitted. And it's harder than what you think. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to have to do to get this to go around the corner. It didn't, I'm not sure. I didn't cut it off the mold correctly or something, but we're close. I will get it if I have to sand these legs out of this or whatever. It has to go down. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do is I'll trim this off, but I'll get it on there. The skin ended up at 3/4 of an ounce. That's a good deal. The fuselage, as it sits right now, is at 5.5 ounces. So we're looking pretty good as far as this goes. And in the next few weeks, if I could work on this, you know, come Christmas, I might just decide, well, Christmas time, I'm going to give myself a Christmas present and put this dog together. And this will be a slow finish model as well. I think Paul was around for the Thunderbolt finish from last year, or not last year, but I think Paul was around for the Thunderbolt build threads from the Stuka days, and Chris is a video guy, but Chris is not here. Sparky is the video guy. Sparky's the computer guy. Sparky's the coder. Sparky's the chief cook and bottle washer. So I don't have any help. Let's see. So I'm just coming up with ideas. Everybody is always, you know, wondering why I do this or why I do that. Well, I try to keep things fresh. Old guys are pretty set in their ways. They don't want to change things. I really wanted to change the forum software, but I know that I'd hear some whining, so I haven't done that. And it's working, so why try to fix something that ain't broke? You know, them engineers are something else. I'm a mechanic. Why try to fix something that ain't broke? So we'll leave it as it is. The answer to the canopy situation is, I was asked on the forum what canopy I'm going to use. I'm using this canopy here from Tower Hobby. It's PMA2623. It's the 1/12 Mustang ARC canopy, and it is the best fit canopy I've ever seen. I mean, they must have knew what size that fuselage was, because it's perfect. So in order to make it look like a razor or a bubble top, I'm just going to take the paint off of this line right here down this way, and then when I paint it on the side of the fuselage, it will come down like that, so that the canopy, it'll be fine. It's so close, you know. We're not building watches. So I think that'll be fine. And the real neat thing is of course, my pilot and some of the other things, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed this evening's Around the Bench. I would like to, to make it longer, but it just takes so much out of me to do all this stuff. Sand, get the stream up, you know, try to code or whatever. But I'm doing the best I can. So make sure you like, subscribe, share this video on Facebook, Twitter, all your accounts. You know, tell everybody at Stunt Hangar. I am up during the day. You know, I'm gonna start streaming during the day with no commentary like I did today, and hopefully people in the Netherlands will find us again and go, what's going on here? And we get some people that are not our normal clientele of people. I know everybody, you know, that's on the forum basically, and can look at your handle and call you by first name. But you know, people in the Netherlands or New Zealand or whatever, you know, there were some people on that I've never seen before, so that was a good thing. Okay, Jim, you have a good evening, and we'll see you on the next go around. So keep, you know, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock we'll start streaming again. So tight lines. See ya.